Hello everybody, I am Dr. Anand Singh Gupta. I am a senior consultant in critical care and emergency services at the SRCC Children's Hospital at Haji Ali, Mumbai. And we'll be discussing today a bit about COVID-19 in children, how different it is in the second wave. And with me for this discussion is Dr. Amreen Bandrowala. She is a consultant in infectious diseases in children and also immunology, and she'll be discussing this thing with us. So Dr. Amreen, is there an increase in infection in children in the second wave during this pandemic?
So yes, we are definitely seeing an increase in the incidence of infection in children in the second wave compared to the first wave. In the first wave, around 4-5% of children were infected in India. Now the numbers are up, they're almost up to 10 to 15%. Most of these again are still asymptomatic, but we're definitely seeing a small increase in the number of severe infection in children who need hospitalization.
Are the symptoms any different in the second wave than it was in the first wave?
I won't say they're different, but there are more systems which are getting involved in the presentation in the second wave compared to the first wave. It's important to understand that children do not necessarily have the same symptoms as adults, so they will not tell you that there is loss of sense of smell or taste, but fever, cough are common. GI symptoms are common, so they can present with abdominal pain, diarrhea, but we are seeing other organ involvement in the second phase which we were not seeing in the first one.
If anyone in the family is positive, should asymptomatic children be screened too?
If the child is a high-risk contact, that means he or she has been exposed to an individual who has turned out to be COVID positive and there has been significant amount of close contact, then yes, they should be screened even if they are asymptomatic.
How do you manage a child who is COVID positive? What should you do if your child tests positive for COVID-19?
It's important to remember that still a majority of children who test COVID positive have mild symptoms or no symptoms, but they should be carefully monitored at home to watch out for red flag signs when they need to go to the hospital or to a pediatrician. For a child who has COVID-19 at home, make sure that they drink enough water, are well hydrated, are eating good nutritious food. They don't need any medications or supplementation unless they have fever, for which you can give them paracetamol, and stay in touch with your pediatrician, updating them about how the child is doing.
What are the warning signs and symptoms to monitor a child who is at home with COVID-19, and when should you take them to a hospital?
To monitor at home, the most important thing is temperature for children. If a child has persistent fever, a very high grade temperature, looks lethargic or drowsy, is unable to take food orally, that is when you need to take the child to a hospital.
Which children are at risk of getting severe infection from COVID-19?
We know that children with heart and lung ailment of any kind, a chronic heart disease, a chronic lung disease, or congenital heart disease, are probably at a higher risk of COVID-19 than other children. In our experience, we've also found that obese children are at a slightly higher risk of getting severe COVID compared to non-obese children. So, Dr. Ayan, we'd like to know what is this multi-system inflammatory syndrome in children and how does it present?
So, as we know from our experience over the last year, COVID-19 infection in children can present in two ways. One is the acute infection, where the child is actually getting the infection from the virus, and the symptoms are related to an acute infection from the virus. There is another way it can present, which has been termed MISC, or multi-system inflammatory syndrome, COVID related, wherein what happens is that this child may have had an infection which may have been symptomatic or mildly symptomatic or asymptomatic. A week or 10 days or 14 days down the line, there's a response of the body, which we call an immune response of the body to the virus. The infection has come and gone. The child is perhaps most probably cleared the virus, but he becomes sick. And this can present in different ways. There can be mild symptoms, and it can lead to a pretty severe condition needing up to ICU admission. So these children generally present with prolonged fever, which is of very high grade, which only corresponds for a few hours to medication, and then they continue to be febrile. It may be accompanied with rash, cracked lips, a red sore tongue. They can have cardiac issues. They can go into a shock wherein they need medication to maintain their blood pressure. So this spectrum of the illness, which occurs post the actual viral infection, is what is labeled as MISC.
And And what has your experience been in managing severe COVID-19 children in the ICU?
So during this second wave, we have seen a lot more children coming into the ICU than we had seen the last time. The manifestations have been varied. The most common has been involvement of the lungs. COVID pneumonia leading to really bad lungs, which we in medical terminology call ARDS. These children have required ventilation, invasive ventilation for prolonged periods. We have had 5 such children who have gone on ventilator and who have remained on ventilator for long. Luckily, we have been able to salvage nearly all of them and send them home. Quite a few of the kids required high oxygen delivery through other modalities like high flow nasal cannula, non-invasive ventilation. So this is one spectrum of the illness who have landed up in the ICU. The other group that we have seen are those who have had cardiac involvement because of acute COVID. We have had nervous system involvement. Children have presented with encephalitis, encephalopathy. Children have presented with myocarditis. Children have presented with renal failure. So this time, multi-system involvement, multiple organs being involved either together or individually has been quite common in children. So as we have just seen, children definitely are being more affected and involved in this second wave, and we would request that everyone take proper precautions and safety measures are implemented so that they can be safe in this pandemic. Hopefully this discussion has been informative and helpful for you. Thank you.